I started thinking about creative ways to spend my time. I started brainstorming how to get more people better access to good, sound information on mental health care. I started to research, imagine, then create educational content around that. I put some of those videos online, and before I knew it, I had over 1 million followers across platforms. And all of those things happened because my Hulu stopped working. All of those things happened because I was stuck to the couch with a dull routine. All of that happened because I was bored. Now, most of my content and educational research is about ADHD. I have it and I treat it. So I spent a lot of my time focusing on focus. And I started to wonder, why was there such a seismic shift in my focus? It's because I allowed myself to be bored. The true secret to dialing in is being able to space out. Your brain is a very busy place. Parts of it are working even when you think they aren't. And you probably heard that myth that you only use 10% of your brain. That's not true. You actually use all of it. Even when you're sleeping, your brain is always active. So when you're awake, alert, focused on a task, you're constantly being ripped in 1 million different directions by distractions. And that's not even an ADHD specific thing. That's a human in this modern world thing. So when you attempt to multitask, you're not actually doing more than one activity at a time. Instead, you're rapidly shifting your focus from one thing to another, using up oxygenated glucose in the brain, which is exactly the fuel you need when you're trying to focus. So here you are, burning through your resources, and it's even harder to stay on task for a prolonged period of time. So you jump from task to task even more, and you use up more glucose, and you keep jumping, and it goes on, and you get stuck on this vicious cycle of brain fatigue. When you allow your brain to quiet down, you activate lesser known neural pathways called the default mode network. And I would describe that neurologically, but it's a relatively recent concept. There's not even a complete consensus on all the brain regions included in the definition of it. But what we do know is that these are the areas of the brain that are active when your brain is at wakeful rest, like daydreaming. When your brain has nothing better to do, you dip into these emotional and memory centers of the brain. And the result is that you get to access forgotten memories, tap into repressed emotions, and problem solve with tools not usually accessible to you in your toolbox. In the neurotypical brain, the default mode network and the task positive or executive network are reciprocal. As one works more, the other slows down. For people who have focus issues, the default mode remains active while the executive network is trying to get stuff done, which explains why it's so hard to stay on task. In order to reclaim our fragmented focus from an increasingly distracted world, we need to be able to tap into the default mode network because there's magic in there. Mindfulness meditation and exercise influence the way we process thoughts, and it does it by diminishing the default mode network. And I know you're probably thinking, why are we diminishing it? Don't we want to use the default mode network? I'm here to encourage you to exercise mindlessness as a way to unlock your most creative, most productive self by activating the default mode network. Why? Because when the default mode network is active, creativity and problem solving are optimized. This is when creativity flourishes. So when you return to problem solving, you've actually reset your executive network and sometimes even given it new ideas to sort through and select from. We can trigger these mind-wandering breaks with the concept that I call brain babbling, is the expression of the contents of your consciousness without censorship as a means of activating and stimulating your unconscious. When you return to whatever it is you were doing before, you're likely going to be more focused because you have indulged that default mode network and restored your executive network. Our brains need these breaks. It's what moves the needle from surviving to thriving. The key idea here is finding a way to utilize mindlessness as a way of becoming more mindful. I don't want you to be mindless all the time, right? Nobody wants that. We don't want to be spacing out all the time. We just want to be able to focus when we want to focus. And we do that by using the default mode network. I think the trick for me, and for all of us, is to find space in our schedules to indulge the default mode network as a way to get our whole brain to work better. Doing nothing is actually doing something. And it's probably doing something more than what you think, because this is generally when we find those breakthrough moments that feel like strokes of genius. Because if we can access those parts of the brain, we have a unique opportunity to connect the two parts of ourselves.